believe it's back to school season already, but here we are. I'm Hartford Healthcare's Rebecca Stewart, connecting you to healthier. A healthy start to the school year also means a healthy start to your day. You know what we're talking about, breakfast. We need to make sure that you get a nutritious breakfast because it plays such an important role in improving your energy, concentration, and learning. So choose healthy foods like fruit, eggs, non-sugary cereals, and yogurt, and you'll have an energetic start to your day. Next on the list, bus stop safety. We want to make sure that your students are being safe when they're stopping for that bus. So remind your kids to always stop, look, and listen before crossing the street or stepping off the sidewalk. And you want to make sure that any large instruments, sports equipment, or backpacks are on the seat. Now, it's no secret that sometimes school can be a tough place emotionally. I'm talking about bullies and bullying. You may not know that there's actually a fine line between being a bully and being bullied. So how do you tell the difference? Here's a story that ran on NBC earlier this year.
We hear the word bullying a lot these days, but what does it really mean? Tonight, the troubleshooters examine how students and schools view this issue and why the line between bullying and being bullied can be blurry. Here's Len Bestoff with our story.
Justin knows he stands out in a crowd, and because of that, he also knows he's more likely to get bullied.
I've always been targeted because I'm different.
The 18-year-old's story resonates with many kids who also feel different and have felt victimized by peers in and out of the classroom. This student did not want to show her identity. She's still in school with her former bully. She tells us problems started with a misunderstanding on the athletic field, which spiraled out of control.
It was a lot of words and name calling, rumors also between the class, who some kids in the class I never talked to.
These two cases show there are different types of bullying. So the question is, what can we do to stop it? Dr. Laura Saunders is a child psychologist at Hartford Hospital. She says it's our instinct to have conflicts with peers, and oftentimes kids don't realize they've taken it too far.
All individuals, starting with children, get involved in conflicts.
Saunders adds it's all about climbing the social ladder. What's surprising is the bully and victim have more similarities than you might think.
There's actually a subcategory that we call the bully victim. It is not uncommon that someone who has been bullied in the past then goes on to become a bully.
Signs to look for in both bullies and victims include mood swings, a change in grades, and a sense of insecurity. Kids don't react the same way adults do when they lack power and control. If a kid takes out frustration on others at home, chances are they do the same at school.
You did a good job.
15-year-old Devin doesn't consider himself a bully, but he admits he's gotten in trouble for something he said to someone. His conflicts are mostly with friends and start out small.
We'll go back at each other for stuff that we're wearing or something.
But Devin admits it escalates quickly.
Mostly it gets out of hand into fights.
While it's easy to pigeonhole kids who act more aggressively, keep in mind many have goals and dreams. Devin wants to be a mechanical engineer. He too gets upset when people pick on him. And if you ask Devin to describe himself, you wouldn't think he's been written up for bullying either.
Smart, I could be caring, funny, outgoing, and I like a lot of attention.
And like most 15-year-olds, loving attention sometimes gets him in trouble.
It's just like a laughing audience, so if you get the most people to laugh, then the other person lost, basically.
Which is exactly what Dr. Saunders wants everyone to understand.
I don't like the philosophy of boys will be boys, which is that sense of, you know what, this is just what kids do, so it's okay.
Connecticut takes bullying very seriously. Several statutes protect students from what are considered acts of meanness, including the implementation of school climate surveys, where administrators monitor how safe students feel on campus. Meriden Public Schools send out climate surveys twice a year. They use them to find possible victims and to also scan for aggressive behavior.
So what we're looking at is patterns over time.
Superintendent Mark Benigni says if a student shows increased aggression in his or her responses, a school psychologist will reach out.
I think that's how we can prevent some of these bullying behaviors.
Saunders insists parents should teach kids how to redirect their aggression.
Just like we're trying to teach them academic skills, we need to teach them social skills and life skills, because that's what translates to getting along later in life when you have conflicts.
Saunders says there's no shame in addressing the problem at its source early by reevaluating how kids treat others outside of home.
How do we empower kids to come forward and say there's a problem when it's a small problem as opposed to when it's a big problem?
This is bullying, and this is a problem.
With the troubleshooters, Len Bestoff, NBC Connecticut.
What else can you do to help your students succeed? Set up a special homework station free of distractions. And you also want to make sure that your students are getting enough physical activity. Physical activity boosts brain power, but it can be dangerous. And with all the different sports out there, head injuries are on the rise. Here is Hartford Healthcare's Tina Verona with a closer look.
We are talking about high-impact sports, football, soccer, hockey. These hard hits endured by players can often lead to injuries, serious injuries like concussions. Joining me is Dr. Subramani Sitharama. He's the medical director of the Hartford Healthcare Rehabilitation Network. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So first, what are the warning signs and what should you do if you notice a player might be suffering from a concussion?
So in the words of John Madden, when in doubt, take them out. So if you see an indirect or direct hit on the field, you take the player out. Now, as most of people know, 85% of these kids will recover in about 48 to 72 hours. So you monitor them. We tell our patients there are some red flags that you want to look at. Nausea, vomiting, increasing lethargy, severe headaches, general change in mental status. That is an emergency. You would take that kid into the emergency room. Otherwise, in about 48 hours, if you feel your kid is still foggy, dizzy, headaches, call our clinics. We have at least 4 clinics around the state, and or call your pediatrician.
Yeah, now these clinics that you're talking about, these are equipped with multidisciplinary teams of specialists specifically to treat concussions. What exactly is the treatment offered once someone comes into one of the clinics?
That's a good question. Ours is a multidisciplinary clinic, like you just said, based on the UPMC, University of Pittsburgh model. The patients are evaluated by our ATCs or certified trainers. They go through a rigorous physical, neurocognitive, and a psychological testing, which is based on the NIH reliability score. This testing is only done in our clinic in the nation. The psychological testing. They also get a full neurological evaluation with me or my partner, Dr. Asante. Based on the findings, we can prescribe treatment. So it could be headaches, like migraine type headaches, which you would treat with medication. One of the commonest problems we see with kids with concussion is vestibular dysfunction. That can be treated with physical therapy. We have 12 to 13 therapists who are certified in vestibular therapy at Hartford Hospital Rehab Network, and they can assist the patients and treat them. We get them in soon, within 48 hours, we start the treatment, because the most important thing is to get the kid better and back in school. If they have visual-ocular problems, we have a specialist who sees them. If they have cognitive issues that are persistent, we have a neuropsychologist on our team that can see them. So we have the whole gamut of specialists in our clinic.
Now, what about the follow-up care? It sounds like it's a lot of rehabilitation.
Yes, so we usually see them once a week, depending on how they're recovering. And we would do an impact test and a physical test in the first time, and then we would do the impact test finally when they're ready to be discharged. Our goal in our clinic is to first get the kid back to school, back in class. Unless they are completely recovered and able to go to class without any modifications or restrictions, we do not let them return to play. We also start an exertion treatment protocol with our trainers and our therapists. So by the time their symptoms get better, they have a couple more stages to go through before they return to play. So we walk them right through to return to school and return to play.
Can the symptoms of a concussion be delayed?
Very good question. So I always tell parents and coaches that if you see a hit that you think was a head hit or was a significant trauma, you need to take the kid out. And the reason is, sometimes the child will say, I have no symptoms at all. And I have seen kids who, either a quarterback in a football team or a soccer player who fell and hit his head, they come off the field for a minute, and the coach looks at them and they say, I have no symptoms, they send them back to play. These kids might have delayed occurrence of symptoms, either later in the game or once they are in the car heading home. And if they have continued playing after that initial hit, they are at high risk for a prolonged symptom management and missing school.
Great information. Thank you so much, Dr. Subramani Sitharama. When in doubt, leave them out. Easy words to live by. So for more information, you can go to connecttohealthier.org. For Hartford Healthcare, I'm Tina Verona.
To learn more about the young adult services offered through our behavioral health network, be sure to check out connecttohealthier.org.